Hey, good morning, folks. How are you today? I'm doing fine. It's Friday, right? It's a great day in Blue Ridge, Georgia. We're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning. We have Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley, and Dr. Raymond Tidman will be right here with us in just a minute. We have a couple of questions from you, the viewers out there, for our doctors. We have the All-Star Political Panel coming up. We've got a lot going on this morning. Always glad to have you and see you here joining us on a Friday morning in Blue Ridge, Georgia. So, really quick shout out for our friends in the Northeast up there. We hope your snow shovel, we hope you can put up your snow shovel soon. We hope you have all your walks cleared and salt down and everything like that. Your driveway's cleared, and you guys have had a tough week of it. Some areas 3 foot, 4 and 5 foot snow drifts, whatever. So a quick shout out. We don't have that here. Sorry. I kind of feel like we're doing something wrong. We got a little snow, like a dusting. Hey folks, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the villain of the week, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, the QAnon lady, the media likes to call her. Now, where are we in America? Where are we right now? We have to check. We have elections. Remember, elections have consequences. You remember that? We've heard elections have consequences. We've heard that we feel there's election fraud. Somebody stole an election. There are still elections in the United States that are not totally settled. There's actually a Democrat in one congressional race that says there may be a problem with election machines coming from a Democrat. But all of the above, we have 435 representatives in the United States of America. 435. And our Constitution and the Founding Fathers wanted to make sure that you had a representative in Congress. So we come up with these districts, and we say we're going to have an election, we're going to have a primary in these parties. The people are going to vote, and they're going to make the decision on who their representative will be in Congress. Well, anybody could have run in the 14th district. In fact, I think, I'm just going to say off the top of my head, you can fact check me, but in the Republican primary in the Georgia 14th district, I'll just say there was 10 primary candidates. Seriously, there was a long list of primary candidates in the 14th district of Georgia in the Republican Party. So it came down to Marjorie Taylor Greene and Dr. John Cowan in the runoff. The runoff, Marjorie Taylor Greene in the Republican primary of the 14th district, I don't even have any notes, received something like 57% of the vote. Okay. Now, Democrats love to yell, save the democracy, right? Save the democracy. Our right to vote, they all love to yell that at the appropriate time for them. So the 14th district said Marjorie Taylor Greene would be their representative of the Republican Party in the election. So the Democrats, they had their candidate there. And guess what? Soon into the general election, the candidate got out of the race, said, I'm out. The Democrats didn't have a candidate. Marjorie Taylor Greene went into Election Day and won and has been elected. This is boring you, but I want you to think this out. She was elected by the people of the 14th district to go serve. Now, something I know factually, because I'm in Georgia, 9th district, know a lot of people in the 14th. People in the 14th district, everything Democrats are telling you about Marjorie Taylor Greene, they knew that. The videos that they're finding and saying she was okay with QAnon, whatever they're saying out there, the people in the 14th district knew that. This is nothing new. What happened yesterday is not There's no new reporting. This is all things that the people in the 14th District of Georgia knew, okay? So she gets up there. Republicans, the way the structure is, they are the minority party, but they get to appoint so many seats in these committees. Well, wrapping it up, yesterday, the Democrats, the majority party, voted along with 10 or 11, let's say 10, I don't know, 10 or 11 Republicans to remove Marjorie Taylor Greene from committee assignments, okay? Dangerous, dangerous. See, so let's do this, and let me close, and we'll talk about this with the panel. You see, I kept saying what? Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Take the name out of it. I tell you, and the news tells you, they removed Marjorie Taylor Greene from committee assignments, right? No, they did not remove Marjorie Taylor Greene. They removed the representative of the 14th District of Georgia from these committee assignments. You see, you know what? It's just like when they attack Trump. And it's just like when they say something nasty about the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. You see, there was 70 plus million, 4 or 5 million, whatever, that voted for him. Right? This is a total attack on the 14th District of Georgia. Don't forget that. And if Republicans get back to House in 2022, it could be very dangerous. Every time there's a person sitting on a committee representing a district in the United States of America, you just go and have a vote. Nah, you got to go. So anyhow, enough said there, but pay close attention, because what happened yesterday is really putting us to question, where are we at on so many different things. You can go down the line of Democrats that have said many of things that should probably be removed from committee assignments. All right, that being said, hey, it's a Joe Biden miracle. That's what I'm calling them. Every single day, it's another Joe Biden miracle. You notice all of the agencies that are working so well together. I mean, the CDC, the DOJ, the FBI. I mean, you could just sing these alphabet soup here. They're all working so well. They're all coming together. They're helping this administration any way they can. You remember when the CDC would give us things that next thing you know, they would come out 2 or 3 days later and give us something new. Well, now everything is accurate. It's a Joe Biden miracle. It's all working together. The President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, not one agency, not one, from FBI, CIA, NSA, you name it, not one government agency worked with the administration to try to make things happen. No, there was conflict, and the media helped out. So I call it a Joe Biden miracle. Kamala Harris cast her first tie-break vote. Yes, she broke the tie 50-50 to move the budget plan, the Democrats' budget plan, forward in reconciliation, right? Remember, Joe Manchin wasn't going to go for that. He was going to be the conservative Democrat. No. I'm trying to tell you, Joe Manchin is not a conservative Democrat. He will stay in line. So now, if they pass the COVID relief plan, illegals will get the check also. That's right. Well, enough said there. We're going to take a brief break, and when we return, it'll be time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley. Take a break.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
It's been 4 generations of family ownership, tens of thousands of customers, and more Chevys than we'd ever be able to count. And more than 60 years later, when we say Days Gets It Done, we still mean it. With the North Georgia Mountains lowest Chevy prices, a huge selection, and outstanding customer care. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
North Georgia is truck country, and nobody discounts Chevy trucks like Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Now save $8,000 off new Silverado crew cabs, or save $5,700 on the all-new body style Equinox. Every Chevy truck and SUV discounted big. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, the low price leader in truck country.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Welcome back to me. A beautiful day in North Georgia. Okay, go ahead, BKP. I just,
That's okay.
you don't know about the tie?
No, yes. Hey, thank you for joining us. It's time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley and Dr. Raymond Tidman here. And again, thank you, North Georgia Cancer Research, affiliated with Northside Hospital, for this segment. We appreciate it. We have a couple questions from you, the viewers. But first, so this is, now listen, I know this one.
You do. It's been worn before.
Preventative medicine tie.
That's right. Because we were talking off camera.
Right.
You were saying the Biden miracle. And I'm going to hold this to the end, but Ray knows I've got the top 20 news things in medical news each week here.
Dr. Whaley always goes and says, hey, I'm going to pull what are the most recent things going on in the news when it comes to medicine.
Yeah, it's usually,
so we're going to hold that.
Yeah, well, sort of. I'll introduce it. It's usually the previous 48 hours.
Right.
And I pointed out that this changed on the 21st of January. Every one of these, top 20 before, was COVID-related. Now, the only COVID-related one in the top 20 is that Dolly Parton said she wasn't going to get her COVID vaccine shot till everybody else had theirs.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then I always focus on cancer, and we're going to focus on the cancer at the end here, but the facts have changed about the high cancer. So it's going to come at the end. All right, that's all that. So that's the tie. The rain's equal, and we don't need a truck today.
And how are you?
It's above freezing.
And how are you above
freezing? Yeah, for the first day in 3 days.
Okay.
All right, you want to tell us what the questions are here? They got some big words here.
Well, we have to remember, like for our northeastern friends that are out there, they had 3 foot of snow. So and I tell you what, when you get the old snow shovel out, you have to be careful. Heart attacks. Yeah.
Yeah, and bad backs.
We still have heart attacks in this
We still have heart attacks, yes, in these countries.
You mean everybody doesn't have a snowblower?
BK, I have family in Pennsylvania also, like you, and I sent them a picture of our blizzard last week.
Did you?
The 8th, or maybe 16th
of an inch.
Yeah, it was on a glass table, so I could really measure.
Right. It was.
So I sent them a picture.
It was on the top of your car.
Well, the table was 30 inches off the ground, so I said we had 30.1 inches of snow.
There you go.
That's measuring it.
I think that's.
Well, I got a daughter and a grandson and 3 grandchildren in Manhattan, and you know how they're handling this winter, don't you? They went to Palm Springs the day after Christmas, and they're coming back March the 15th.
There you go.
Yeah, New York shut down, Palm Springs didn't, so they're having a big old time. All right, anyway.
All right, let's get to medical questions of the week.
Yeah, okay, I can tell you this very first one is absolutely a follow-up on something we did about 4 weeks ago because of the way it was written. My father just moved up to the mountains from South Florida, where he was treated for 10 years for polycythemia thick blood. First by him donating blood at the Red Cross. Then later by having blood drawn off at the doctor's office. Now that he is with me, he has symptoms, itching, and he can't eat due to getting full. And the hematologist wants to give him a Jack pill. He is in good general health and 78 years old. What do you think, and what are his other options? Well, you know all about polycythemia because we've done it before. Emily, clap that first one up there, because we're going to get this out of the way in a pretty good hurry. But this man has been, not only has he been well treated, but he's lived over 10 years with a myeloproliferative disorder. So what you see up on the screen there, there's bone marrow there. That's too many red blood cells. Remember, we've gone through that before. I was telling Jeremy about the Pickwick papers and how all of these medical problems were described by authors long before doctors knew anything about sleep apnea. Mr. Pickwick had sleep apnea and gout. Well, anyhow, they used to talk about people with red face, red ears, thought they were all Scotsmen. They had too much red blood. Take that one down, Emily. So, by definition, upper limit of red count is something. This says 47%, 45%. Pull that back down, Emily. So when a patient goes in and gets a physical from Ray, and their face is red and their hands are red and their red blood count's pretty high, then that means there's too much red blood. So that's polycythemia. But there are lots of different causes of it. So he has real polycythemia. They diagnosed that in Florida. Show the next one. That picture there shows right in the middle the spleen. So when the spleen gets real big, that's right in the middle of your stomach, isn't it?
Yes.
So the reason he's not able to eat, I'm making the assumption is, when he eats, his spleen is pushing on his stomach. So his spleen has gotten big, and he's itching. Show that next one. Now, I always like to show you one of these. But up here is the elevated red blood cell count. There's 50 other different reasons you can have it. Cigarette smoking, you're taking testosterone.
Sleep apnea.
You're on diuretics or whatever, or you live at the top of a mountain, or your kidneys are bad. So when you get all the way down here, pull that one down, Emily. When you pull all that down and you get to the subset of all the elevated red counts that are polycythemia rubra vera, and that's probably 1 out of 4, very first thing people generally note is the itch. And so he's itching. So there's this long list of stuff that they give kids who've got the scabies and stuff to stop itching, but that attacks the symptom and not the cause of the problem. Remember? I said, if you got a fever, I can give you Tylenol, but the intellectual thing is why you got the fever. Is it the flu, or you got a kidney infection, or what? So show that next one. Jack pill. Here it is. There's the Jack pill. You got that up there where folks can see it? All right, now pull it down, because here is what we went into before. And that is that
in this entire question, I have to tell you, I've been waiting for the Jack pill.
Okay, remember now, there
It's a
is
southern
a
treatment.
genetic mutation that causes many of these diseases, from breast cancer, colon cancer, everything else, but red blood cell, polycythemia, chronic myelogenous leukemia, all of these have genetics, and the gene was called JAK2. So this new pill specifically blocks that gene, and it's expensive, this pill, but you don't have to draw blood off anymore. The spleen shrivels up. Pull it down, Emily. The spleen goes down. The man can eat. He doesn't have to have blood drawn off anymore, but the quickest relief of symptoms is itching. So a lot of people, when they got this too much blood, they say, "Boy, when I get out of the shower, I just itch like I'm on fire." So this is the right treatment. It's down, Emily. This man was very well treated. He's had a 10-year survival. We know by the way the question's asked, he has the positive gene. And his proper thing to do is follow his doctor's advice, take the Jack pill. He's not going to have to pay the $5,000 deductible every month. The company's going to make that pill available to him. Nobody, if you have no insurance at all, if you have bad insurance, whatever, if you need that pill, that drug company is going to make a way for us to get you that pill. So let Papa take the pill. There.
And we lost one of our beloved physicians in this county to polycythemia vera.
Really?
Dr. Jack Roof. So.
Yeah, and Dr. Whaley treated him.
Yeah.
And he had a bone marrow transplant. So this patient is not to that situation yet. Not to that situation yet. And that diagnosis is made 90% of the time by family physicians when they see patients doing a routine workup, physical, or the patient comes in and they got a complaint of, itching or something like that. We never see these patients until Ray or somebody likes them says, "Hey, wait a minute, your red count over the last 3 years has been going up every year, and you need to go see a hematologist." And this patient needs to end up in a hematologist's office, and he had one in Florida, he got one up here, he got the right treatment.
Let me say, that's a very good question for the viewer that sent that in. That's a very good question, and you can always send your questions to info@fetchernews.com, info@fetchernews.com, or find our social media pages and send us a question that way. Just put in the subject line, "Ask the Doc." And so many things there also that we've always said. That question is very good because we have the health history the age, male, the details there to be able to answer the question are all there that you usually ask for in a question, Dr. Whaley.
Might I throw in one other primary care aspect of this? The nomenclature, poly means many, cythemia is cells, so many cells, is still a fairly rare cause of an elevated hematocrit or hemoglobin. So people that come in with an elevated hematocrit will get a pretty thorough workup ruling out other more common things before they narrow it down to polycythemia. As we've thrown it out there, living at a high altitude, effectively living at a high altitude by being sleep apneic at night and being oxygen deprived, all these other causes that
We weren't going to say anything about sleep apnea and tobacco abuse since you don't smoke, but sleep apnea is a big one.
Big one.
And cigarette smoking.
And very
is chronic
silent
lung
and very
disease.
insidious.
That's a Pickwick syndrome. Pickwickian, that big old guy like that all the time.
Couldn't stay
That was
awake.
sleep apnea described 150 years before we knew anything about it by Charles Dickens.
I'm just so glad I have you to pick on every
How did
morning.
Charles-
One thing I'm thinking,
How did Charles Dickens get
for
into
some
this
reason,
medical-
every Friday, I think there's a diagnosis going on here. And two, I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
Never again do your sleep apnea impression. Don't do that anymore.
All right. Well, Mr. Pickwick. That's anybody. I asked.
Don't do that.
I asked one of my nurses, who has a real Bachelor of Science from a big school. The other day, I said, "Well, you know about Pickwickian syndrome, Mr. Pickwick." You know something? People don't read that stuff anymore. This next question.
Moving right along, our second
all right.
question.
Well, this next question, I'm going to. It points to something that. Let me read the question first, and then I'll get into the thing that really bugs me. My mother has been treated for follicular lymphoma 7 years ago with chemotherapy and 2 years of an antibody infusion every 2 months. When she was followed up for a while, they did CAT scans often. But for the past 2 years, they said she doesn't need them. I pushed them and they said, Ray, listen to this one, she didn't meet the guidelines. I still want her to have one. What do you say? Well, first of all, I'll say you could always pay for it if you want it that bad. But I don't mean to be flip. I'm older than most of, than y'all, and probably not older than most of your audience. But there used to be a time, and Ray remembers it, when we walked around with a prescription pad in our pocket. And if you came in and could write you a prescription for an antibiotic or something, and he could say, I want to send you over to the hospital for ribarium enema, and then if you've got diverticulitis, I want to send you over here to Dr. Jones to get operation. Well, we can't do that anymore because the drug might not be on your formulary, the hospital might not be in your network, and Dr. Jones might not be on your plan. Now, is that so? We feel like we're walking around with handcuffs on us. Now, this is not the same thing, but it's the same control, and this control, I think, is a little bit more reasonable. Now, Ray talks all the time about research and how things are done. There's different degrees of evidence. We are confident, this is called category 1 evidence, that after the nighttime follows the dawn, right? Now, it rains sometime when there's no clouds in the sky. So you're not sure when it's going to be raining. Well, put that thing up now. I'm going to show you this. This is one page out of thousands in what are called NCCN guidelines. NCCN guidelines version 1.2021 and talking about lymphoma. And it says, after you have completed your course of treatment, there should be a history and physical in labs every 3 to 6 months for 5 years. So they were probably doing those scans for 5 years after diagnosis and 3 years after they finished the maintenance. That guy got perfect treatment. And repeat imaging only as clinically indicated, meaning that once you've gone through that immediate period where they were doing those scans,
Right.
quote, clinically indicated. So if you don't have something that you've got in a laboratory test, or you don't have a new lump or bump in your neck or a big spleen, and the doctor orders that test, and then the insurance company looks at the documentation, they're either not going to pay for it, they're not going to pay for it, and if you're going to get it done, the hospital won't schedule it unless you say, I'll write the check. So basically, I'd say that patient should continue the regular follow-up, get the blood test, get the hands-on exam, which it says do, and then if something shows up, dad starts losing weight, running fever, gets a lump in his neck, do another CAT scan. So I don't believe there's any choice you've got there other than to pay for it yourself or follow the rules.
Well, that's kind of following the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line is where things have gone amiss is a third party has granted itself a medical license. And instead of that, the word guideline there is a misnomer. It's fine for it to be a guideline. It's fine for it to suggest to physicians, hey, have you done all these things?
Right. The insurance company takes that as the Bible right there.
They take that as a medical degree. But if Dr. Whaley said, okay, that's the guidelines, but I need this, this, and this, the insurance company should back off and say, you know what, I don't have a medical degree or licensing. I don't even have my hands on this patient. So I don't know what else is going on, and I need to do what the patient's doctor says I need to do, not what the guideline says I need to do, which saves me money. So that's where things are completely wrong with third-party payers.
Right. Not only that, but that makes Ray's nurse, and hopefully the nurse can do it. Otherwise, he's got to do it.
Hours.
Do what's called peer-to-peer. So now they say, well, if Dr. Whaley wants that bad enough, he's got to have a talk with Brian Pritchett and convince Brian Pritchett. And Brian Pritchett's going to have a screen in front of him, and he's going to talk to my nurse, and then my nurse practitioner. If he ever gets to me, he's going to wish he never talked to me because I always lose my temper. But you have to, I mean, seriously, you have to fight for that. We have 2 people in the office that are pre-certification experts. And they are on the phone hours and hours a day. That's 2 salaries that are...
2 salaries that are not doing health care.
They're not doing health care.
All they're doing is fighting insurance companies who the bottom line is their money, and they've stuck that overhead down on you in your office, and they try to make you so miserable that you just throw up your arms.
Anyway, so we're not here to talk about...
Well, no, I mean, you hit on some things. Americans out there... you went right in, and I'll just say it like this, you went right into their living room this morning and you talked directly to them, and they're understanding what you're saying, because I'm sitting here on the couch with you, and the last time I went to the doctor, I was there more time for them to see what medications. I was in the office more time, not seeing the doctor.
Yeah, filling out papers.
No, for them to go back and see what medications were approved that they would like for me to be on in my plan, or then I've heard this myself, that someone's not in my network.
But
I mean, this is something that everybody out there deals with. So if your doctor says, oh, I want you to go have this test, now you got to figure out what hospital they're going to send you to, because is it in your network? And then you got to go look at the list of doctors and say, or you know what I'm saying? They know what I'm saying.
I'm going to give you one more. This is January, okay?
Right.
So Medicare, when you come in, is going to pop up a bunch of questions. Do you feel safe in your home? What's your alcohol intake like? And blah, 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 like that. But your drug plan, I'm going to use a drug name. You may have been on a generic Benicar for your blood pressure, and you refilled the prescription on December the 1st. December the 5th. And so January the 5th, you go over here across the street and say, I want to refill my Benicar, and they say, oh, it's not on your plan. Well, wait a minute, I just filled it last month, because the formulary changes for your insurance carrier on January 1.
Right.
Now, this goes back to uncompensated care. So then the insurance company tells Dr. Tidman, you got to come up with a substitute for Benicar, otherwise he's got to pay $300 a month for it. Pick something else off our list that will work for him. Now, they liked it was on their list last
Oh, by the
year.
way, they sold it to him because he had to pick the list in the beginning of December, and then at the end of December, it's
They
not on the
changed-
plan anymore.
Yeah, anyway.
So it's a little slip.
Anyway, so we I don't. we didn't-
Guys,
we didn't come
I
here
just
talking
did that
about
in January. I just went through that. I just
Okay.
went through that.
All right, let me just give you the
had
rule of-
to, I had to change some medications in January. Go ahead. Yeah,
Well, I
they
mean,
know
this
out there.
This human psychology, okay, and it's one of the places our country's going wrong. We are autonomous individuals that have our own agency. We steer ourselves through life. We make our mistakes. We learn from them. We go on. In life, when you find there is a third party that's constantly interjecting themselves between you and the other person, it's unhealthy. I think it's essentially wrong. And so it's not just these insurance companies that are third parties that are sticking themselves between the patient and the doctor. It's all through life.
Ah, wait a minute. I'm going to give you one now. This week, I warned you about this one. This week, on the same day, the little man who's the most highly compensated federal employee in the United States
Yes.
stood up and said, who is calling me? I think no good. Spam or this. Stood up and said, we need to immunize school children to get to herd immunity. Later in the day, the CDC said we should open up the schools and the kids and the school teachers don't need to be immunized to get back in school. Now, they should, the two, you said all the government's all working together. Well, this is the same department here, coming out with 180-degree different type of advice. No wonder people out there are confused.
Well, they're not only confused, but they're upset. Can I go off on my rant now?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
When
don't
you and
keep
I,
the rant down. All right.
okay, I mean, I won't use any swear words, but back in my previous life as an engineer, we had this saying that if the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. In our lives, in our professional life, a physician is responsible for looking at any treatment that they offer, the benefits, the cost, and the risk. Okay? We look at it all. We don't just get to look at the benefits. Well, it's not. It would be inappropriate to just look at the benefits.
You got
and
the
not
hazard
consider
and the benefit
Right.
over here. Now they're making you look at the cost. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, okay, but the hazards or the risk of the treatment, it's part of what we do. We have peers sitting at the top of the agency that I shall not mention, who came out with a treatment that didn't look at the cost and the risk and the down effect. Didn't even consider it. They are looking back 100 years with their hair on fire saying 1918 there was this terrible pandemic right at the end of a war when everybody's all disarrayed and being put on troop ships and everything's in chaos that was beyond hell. And that's the only thing they can see. And so, okay, well, let me get my hammer out and let me tell everybody in the world to go hide and let's shut down economies. And I don't know, I don't care what's going to happen to all those people. That's malpractice in our world.
Yes.
Malpractice. Okay? And what's worse is that when they got new information that said, you know what? It's 1/10 as bad as we thought it was. At best, 1/10. So they got new information. So you can say, okay, well, they think Godzillabacter's here, and we got to deal with Godzillabacter. But a month later, when they started finding out, you know what? It's 1/10 as bad. They didn't adjust their treatment. Not only did they not adjust their treatment and have not adjusted it for a year now, they didn't come back and say, what is the cost of our treatment? Now, they had a few physicians like Dr. Atlas come out very clearly and say, you know what, it's not that hard to look at the cost of this. It's not that hard to go out into the economic world and look at when you inflict poverty on the world and on societies, what that does to them. We can do that. A lot of them said, no, we got this hammer, and we're going to use this hammer until we've killed this Godzillabacter.
Well, I think that the kids in the schools that aren't getting to go to schools are the ones that are getting hammered the worst.
Hammered the worst.
I feel bad about small businessmen, and I feel bad about the airlines, but I got 2 grandkids in Atlanta. DeKalb County schools have not been to school since last March.
Atlanta's discussing summer school. They're talking about having to hold kids back a year.
They've lost a year of education.
Right.
Not only that, they've lost a year of football, wrestling, socialization, dating, making
and
mistakes.
if they were seniors, opportunities to get into a grander sport. Myself and the mayor of Chicago probably disagree on everything. But bless her heart, she came out yesterday almost in tears, screaming at the Chicago Teachers Union saying, "You are hurting children. Stop it. Get over yourself. These children need to be back in school. They need to be educated. Their parents need them in school. They need to move on." And when somebody that extreme for me is coming out in tears and saying, "This is abusive," and we have this abuse. I mean, Quebec, Canada, they still are locking people in their houses after 8 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning. What, does the virus come out at night? What kind of science is that? I mean, there are people doing things in this world that our future generations will look back and they will think that is as stupid as in the Middle Ages when people flogged themselves so that the plague wouldn't kill them.
Well, well, I don't say, if you would say, you may ask, okay, well, what's this got to do with medical, and ask the doc and whatever? It does, because what this has done, the seriousness of COVID is real.
Well,
it's real. It's real. But
What
we have done is, it's not just COVID, it's psychological abuse to our children, physical things that they're not getting out and getting their exercise.
Child abuse is getting worse than everything else.
One thing after another. Domestic violence.
And it's back to what I said earlier. It is a third party.
Right.
That's decided that they can interject themselves into your life and control you. And they need to get the hell out.
Let me ask you this now.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Now, as I said, I got 2 grandkids that aren't in school. They got a third brother who is. He's going to a Catholic school. He wrestles, he does rugby, and he plays football, and he goes to school every day. And it's in the same household. Now, explain to me why the private schools are open and they're doing just fine, and the public schools with a union aren't. That's right. Okay, now we're going into here. All right, we're getting out of that. I got to stop.
Yes,
we got to get back to work here.
Moving right along.
Moving right along. Okay. In terms of what we
relax.
In terms of what I want to say about this, about the new, because we're coming up here on the expert panel in a minute. This COVID thing is serious as a train wreck. All right?
It is.
It's serious as a train wreck. All right, now, Georgia has had 13,000 deaths. 763,000 cases. Fannon's had 55 deaths. That's a lot of deaths in a little county like this. We had a couple car wrecks in the last few months. 1 or 2 people died. It was a huge thing. So Fannin County's had almost 2,000 cases.
Okay, I agree.
55 deaths, okay? It's serious as a train wreck. So we need to do, our fine china needs to get immunized. Our people over age 65 need to get immunized. There's a website you can go to today very quickly under Georgia Department of Public Health. Hit COVID vaccine locator and then put it in your county, and it'll tell you everybody in the county that's got the vaccine today. Go on the vaccine thing every day, because some small pharmacies that never even ordered it are going to get 20 doses, and then this morning they'll be on there, and you may go to a family drugstore. So keep on and get on your virus. Get it
every day.
Over age 65,
exactly right.
every day. Go on there every day. But here's the thing that's impressive, and that is that the death rates they've fallen 23% in the last couple of weeks, and the total number of positive cases. Remember, we were at 18% 2 weeks ago. We're back down to 11. When we get down below 10, and that ain't much farther, we're open here. But when we get down below 10, there ain't any reason in the world why Atlanta schools and stuff shouldn't be wide open and playing football and everything else. All right. So lastly, I want to get to the biggest thing I think in the news, and it was just last week or week before last. We said lung cancer is the #1 diagnosis in women. prostate cancer is the number one diagnosis in men, and the number one cancer diagnosis in the country is colon, because it's number 2 in each. Love Georgia Tech, love the Pete Petit School of Bioengineering, and here's the numbers. Breast cancer is now the leading cancer diagnosis. 1 out of 5, and there's 5 of us right here, will get cancer. 1 out of 8 males and 1 out of 11 females will die of cancer. But breast cancer is now the number one cancer in the country, both sexes put together, 11.7%, and then lung is 11 and colon is 10.9. So there are still the big 3. But the one thing about it is, you make that diagnosis of breast cancer by going to your doctor and getting your blinking mammogram, for crying in the night. And you get that colon cancer diagnosis. You don't wait until you bleed, you got abdominal pain, you go in there and you get your colonoscopy at 45 or 50, depending on your history, and the appropriate interval thereafter. And you get that lung cancer out of here by getting the rest of the tobacco out of the daggone world, which they're doing a pretty good job of. And that's why lung cancer diagnosis has fallen like a rocket. That's why breast cancer diagnosis is going up, because people are getting mammography. And as we said a couple of weeks ago, mammograms were down 12, 14% or something like that all through the last half of last year. But we have been on this program and other people on other programs pounding at it. Get out of your house, get off to your doctor, and get your exam. Now, I live in a home with a friend of yours, and she went to an eye doctor yesterday for the first time in a long time. An eye doctor up here in the mountains, went to Yale and everything, and he noticed that she may have a pressure issue with her eye. Well, if you're seeing good and watching the TV and you don't have any trouble driving and you don't go to your eye doctor every year or two, glaucoma and retinal diseases don't give you any warning. You gotta get to the doctor's office. His, not mine. You only get to my office when you go into his and something turned up wrong.
Final thought of the day?
No, it's your turn, Ray.
Yeah, it's your
Okay,
turn.
well, let me tie everything I said together. So, as individuals, if to the degree you find some third party poking their nose in your business, you need to push them back. We need to get back to being Americans, no matter what field it is. And to those school folks in our county or in our region who can hear my voice, if you are treating children any differently than the flu, then you're mistreating them. Okay? So all this COVID rules and COVID nonsense and, somebody had a contact, we got to shut this down, got to run hide, in children needs to end. COVID is better. COVID's not good for anybody, but the flu is harder on children than COVID. So if you're treating them different than the flu, you're mistreating them.
Got it. And you? You out?
No, I've already said go to your doctor and get your daggone preventive medicine thing and then donate blood and take the vaccine. I'm not getting off the donate blood. We got to have blood. I'm not going to get off take the vaccine. And I'm not going to fight with anybody about the vaccine until everybody over age 65 and every nursing home. Here's the thing that bothers me: that only 25% of nursing home workers voluntarily took the vaccine in phase 1.
In the country or in?
In the country.
Because locally, RALF, almost everybody.
Yeah, well, and
that's because you have good coaching and a lot
that's right. And I got on, and even in physicians' offices, the numbers were like 60%. So I got on, and I got on my bandwagon to all of our people, and I even gave them a link to watch our program of 3 weeks ago. Said, look, click on fyntv.com, go to the Ask the Doctor playlist and get the one that was 3 weeks ago, and we talk in great detail about the fact that there aren't any significant there's no contraindication to giving the vaccine unless you're allergic to the vaccine. So there's nobody that shouldn't get it.
And we're now millions of doses, many millions, tens of millions of doses into this. And there's no pattern showing up that's catastrophic.
Yeah, so you get a sore arm 1% of the time, and a few people are going to have chills the next day, and that's just the same as you'd get with a flu shot or a tetanus shot, for crying in the night.
There you have it. Folks, Dr. Raymond Tidman and Dr. William Whaley. Dr. Whaley, I appreciate you very much, both of you, for coming out and answering these questions. If you have a question for the doctors, send it to Ask the Doc. Dr. William Whaley, we send them to him in advance. Ask the Doc. Send them to info, I-N-F-O, at FetcherNews.com. Find Fetcher News, FYNTV.com on social media. Just like Dr. Whaley said, if you'd like to share these segments with family and friends, go to FYNTV.com. Ask the Doc. Share all of the segments are there. Also on our YouTube channel, FYNTV Fetcher News playlist. Ask the Doc.
And you'll see during the whole thing a Northside Hospital little logo
Absolutely.
up there, right, Emily? All right.
Now, thank you, North Georgia Cancer Research. We thank each and every one of you over there. I know a lot of your staff over there, great people. Thank you, Northside Hospital, affiliated with Northside Hospital, for the segment. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. It's time for our all-star political panel.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
New year, new Chevy. Let's get it done at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the Chevy trucks you want, like $8,000 off new Silverado crew cabs, or save over $7,500 off a new Chevy Equinox. Every Chevy truck and SUV discounted big. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
It's been 4 generations of family ownership, tens of thousands of customers, and more Chevys than we'd ever be able to count. And more than 60 years later, when we say Days gets it done, we still mean it. With the North Georgia Mountains lowest Chevy prices, a huge selection, and outstanding customer care. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
North Georgia is truck country, and nobody discounts Chevy trucks like Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Now save $8,000 off new Silverado crew cabs, or save $5,700 on the all-new body style Equinox. Every Chevy truck and SUV discounted big. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, the low-price leader in truck country.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host BKP. It's time for the All-Star Political Panel, and we are at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Dr. Raymond Tidman is going to join us for a minute. He's sitting over here, so when he has to exit stage left. Yes, I've wanted to do that. That's why he had to sit here. Bruce, Rick, Joanne is off today, and she has some things to do, but she will be back next week. I'm exhausted, man. I'm just exhausted. I've got Joe Biden disorder.
You're exhausted from the first segment?
No, I'm just exhausted. I got Joe Biden disorder.
Pretty hard.
Yeah.
Have you been tested?
Yeah. Do you have Biden antibodies?
No, it's serious. My God.
That
I
would
mean,
be
can't you
serious.
guys?
If you had Biden antibodies, you'd be.
I'm exhausted. I have Joe. My dog has Joe Biden disorder. My dog has Joe
Is he
Biden
barking
disorder.
at the TV now? Or?
No, sundowning. She's 15. She walks the floor all night long like Joe Biden. Is that what you call it now?
Have you noticed that the White House lights go off at 10 o'clock?
Yes, they're on a timer.
What is that?
We have good material.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. And that's only for Jill. You know, Jill's already in bed.
Jill's out on the town.
Jill has to watch TV in the kitchen. Oh, hi, you're out there. Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Dr. Tim.
What'd you guys cover? Did you guys get into the school disorders?
Yes, we got into the school disorders. Did you hear the case about Perth? It's on the other side of the planet, I know, but this
Right,
truly
okay.
happened.
All right.
Perth is, I don't know how many million people in that
That's
town.
in Australia for you and Rio Linda.
Yeah, those people are upside down, but they're also in the summer right now.
Yeah, West Australia.
So they had like several days in a row with no cases. Zero positive. Now cases, that's a positive test, okay, not even
Right.
sick. And then they had a positive test. So the ruler, whatever that's called down there, of Perth, said, oh, we got to quarantine again. Everybody stay in your house, and there are 4 reasons you can come out. I won't go into the 4, but if you do come out of your house, you have to wear a mask. One guy did it. Came out without his mask on. He was in his mid-40s. They arrested him, put him in jail for 18 days.
Sentence for 18 days.
18, that's till he can get his hearing. In jail, no bail. No, one case, one positive test in millions of people. Now, what is going on?
Well, there are small cities in the United States that have taken their COVID relief money and put cameras all over their little cities and put monitoring systems in so they could see who is out without a mask and who is not honoring the social distancing. And they've taken the actual money that we sent them and they're fitting their little cities with monitoring systems to help their citizens.
So, this is
yeah, it is. It's
I'm seeing a pattern, but it's not right or left, and I'm trying to get my head around it. But one of the theories that I'm working on is that it's a third-party pattern, and it's in life when you've constantly got a third party who is interjecting themselves in your business, or you're needing a third party to interject themselves. So it can go either way, but it to me feels very un-American. And if you start looking at a lot of things that are going on around here, is somebody looking for that other person to tell them what to do, or is there another person out there that's just waiting to tell them what to do?
Well, they've done such a good job of fear mongering with this. That you have people there that say,
thing.
You're not wearing your mask, you're impacting me, and then they'll call the police or do whatever, throw a fit. It's crazy.
Well, this next 1.8 or 1.9 trillion, I mean, what's the big deal, 8 or 9, but 1.8, 1.9 trillion dollar package, is there's billions to help cities that need help, cities and states, and to open this one. I got to pull my hair out. Open our schools safely, okay? And then teachers. Now I love teachers. We get attacked if we say anything about schools. It's like we're going after teachers. We don't go after teachers here. But when you have teachers unions,
we talk about schools,
and you have teachers out there saying, safety over people over profits, when the truth is, I went and I looked at 4 blue states this week. I went and looked at California, Illinois. Take the time. This is not hard to do. You can look this up. And all you got to type in Google is unfunded pensions. Okay? And I went to California, Illinois, Connecticut, and what was the other one I went to?
New York. New York, probably.
Did I go to New York?
Or New Jersey.
New Jersey. I went to New
Horrible.
Jersey.
Why
right?
didn't you go to Rhode Island?
I picked 4 blue states.
Come on,
And the truth is it's not about opening the schools.
No.
It's about the unfunded pension liabilities
That they want the money for.
And that's the truth of it.
been crying for that forever. Look, you look at this country, we're the last, if you look at the 50,000 foot view,
That's way up there.
we are the last country that has to fall. And I don't mean fall, I mean, we have to change our social norms in order for New World Order to take effect. So I'm convinced that that is your third party. It's the deep state New World Order that is working behind the scenes to do everything they can to bring the U.S. economy to its knees, eliminate the middle class, and
the globalists
be part of the globalist movement.
So I'm trying to back down to the personal level, and so how do you know when you're getting into trouble? And that's that little clue I'm coming up with is there some outside person that's taking away your independence, your agency?
You're looking for one person or one entity.
And all these things in life, like I had an interaction with an insurance company the other day. I'm trying to get settled on my wife's car. And she kept referring to this auditor that went out there and did this audit, and I kept coming back with, what about this, what about this? And in the interaction between she and I, there was always her pulling in this third party out there that was making the discussion meaningless. And after 2 months of discussion, I got nowhere with her because she had this third party. But you think about the old westerns, which we adore in this country. People pretty much met each other eye to eye and did their business and settled things, and that was part of the romance of being an American, that you took care of yourself and you were honorable and you did the right thing, and when you had a problem you worked it out. You didn't go run to the sheriff for somebody that was lollygagging around. I mean, the sheriff came in if there was a shooting going on, but they didn't come in and settle every argument that we had. And it's like society now has moved to this thing where there's always got to be some third party that's coming in and telling you what to do or how to do it, and it's very unhealthy.
The kids have been indoctrinated that the government, will solve problems for you.
Right.
They will take care of you. So that's the mentality I think with a lot of younger people.
Right.
Like you go to the government. Who else are you supposed to go to?
It's so insidious. But
I watch the media and they keep saying, American people need help. They need help now. They're suffering now. They need help now. And we have totally turned it around. Now, I mean, our generation, I'm afraid to say that when you look at these kids that are 18 and 20 years old and even getting close to 30, they don't see quite the problem, I don't think, with the government helping us now.
And that's what I'm trying to poke at. If you do let me put it in a real simple psychological pattern. If you're a mom and you're raising a kid and you're cooking in the kitchen and the child reaches for a hot stove or something like that, the mom would say, "Hey, don't touch that hot stove; it'll burn you." And the child will hopefully listen. But if they don't, and they reach up and touch that hot stove, it will burn them. And the mother can lovingly look at that child and say, "I told you not to do that, and it burns you, and so let's help fix that now. You've learned your lesson." Now, what would be the other thing that you could do? You could have some sort of magic going on where when the child reached up and touched the hot stove, the mother got burned. Okay? Well, she didn't make that child not reach for that stove, and now she got burned. Okay, so what is the down message of that for the child? Poor you can't figure this out. Someone else has to take your punishment. Now, how unloving is that to say to a child, "You're too dumb to figure things out in life, and we can't let you have consequences because you're just too weak"? Isn't that what's going on with all these third-party people?
Yes.
They're all saying, "Oh, you're not smart enough. We know better. We're the elites. You just do what we tell you to do, and everything will be okay." And then, but there's a big piece of us that are like, "Oh, okay, I feel real safe." Not really.
I've
It's
also
the class
said,
system that you and I were talking about.
And it is very unloving.
Right.
Because it is saying the consequences are unbearable for you and you can't learn. Well, no, we should learn and we should move on and we should get bigger and better. But you don't do that with this third party thing that comes in and says, "Oh, poor you."
All right, so Joe Biden has signed 40-some executive orders, and somehow every executive order, somehow every appointment he has made to the cabinet have a common theme to them, equity? Would equity?
Equity is the new buzzword.
Is that the
Not equality.
right? Not
Equity.
Equity, right?
Equity.
Yes.
That's an imposed
Standard, lowest
Right.
common denominator.
Exactly.
Yeah, dumb down everything.
The military is cleansing themselves now. All right, the Secretary of the Military stopping, and they're going to do a total review, and they're going to find the white supremacists. They're going to find the people in the military that posted a Trump flag. They're going to find somebody in the barracks that has a Trump button. They're going to cleanse the military, so that's there.
He said that in his hearing.
Right.
He came right out and said what he was going to do. We're going to cleanse the military.
So we have a military that is being cleansed. It's not your mom and pop's military anymore. It's just not. I know I respect the men and women that wear the uniform, but people need to understand the men and women now that wear the uniform are not. What am I looking for here?
I don't know yet.
Well, it's not the same. It's just simple as that. This is not the military. It's like, years ago.
I don't know that it's gotten that far, but they're pushing it.
I think it has.
Really?
I do. I think it has.
You talking about from a patriotic standpoint? Is something?
I don't want to say from a patriotic standpoint, because let's just look at this. If we're going to, we're throwing out some good stuff.
Probably from a training and operational point of view.
Training and operational. Thank you. Training and operational. I like where he went. Patriotic. Do you not realize that's not a real good thing right now?
No,
you don't hear that thrown around.
You see what I'm saying? So what did you just say? Let me hear that again, because I want to remember.
Training and operational.
The military in a training and operational sense is not the military. There was a time it was to kill people, not to build schools, not to build power plants, not to,
do hurricane relief.
National Guard. National Guard.
Guard the Capitol.
Guard. I mean, now they are, when I say, hey, argument or not, I mean, transgenders, you don't know who you're serving with, okay?
But I mean, that's real scary to think it would go that way.
But it is.
It goes back to what you said. I mean, people have become more and more dependent on governments or other nannies to take care of things in life, where before you'd buck up and do it yourself.
Well, I mean, if you look at take the high point of one of the high points of our military, the Special Forces, and the Navy SEALs are one of the most elite. One of the great guys in our age right now that's out there, Jocko Willink, wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. In that book, it's all about every individual takes ownership for everything that went on. If something went wrong, I don't point my finger at someone else. I don't say he didn't do that, or she should have done this, or they should have done this. It's what could I have done to make that right. And that was the esprit de corps of, that was the highest standard. That's where the military came from. Men were put into desperate situations. They looked after each other, and they knew that they had to figure it out, and they had to trust each other. And there wasn't anybody that's going to come down and rescue them or make it all right. Now, they were constantly in a chain of command and getting orders of where they're to do or what's to happen. But at some level, they had the agency to be able to say, I'm to make this happen. And if I don't make it happen, my buddy's going to die, or I'm going to die.
It's the same concept that Vince Lombardi put into play when he was coach early on of the Green Bay Packers. He made every one of those players on the team feel a responsibility to the guy that was lining up next to him. If I drop the ball, I'm hurting that guy. The same concept.
And now
look
we're
how many world championships
we're
they won.
morphing into this society of it's somebody else's fault, and somebody else needs to look after this, and they need to make it okay. And quite honestly, everybody likes to beat on the communist. It's communism.
Now, I want to be clear, very clear. I support our men and women in uniform in the military. I want to be clear on that. But it's like, the daytime TV. Our government is daytime TV now. Yeah. Period. We just got to come to grips. It is a soap opera. It's daytime TV. I do not feel our government operates for any reason whatsoever to benefit the men and women of America by passing laws, debating issues, whatever. I believe that's all things that are predetermined for us. Okay, so I think our Congress, Senate, and House all together, and I'm not knocking on a lot of the Republicans, but I think as a whole, I think they're useless for the most part. It's turned into daytime TV if you pay attention to it.
And they have
okay?
that group of that body of people that is supposedly representing us in Washington has virtually no respect for anybody
exactly
that voted for them. None.
Got it.
If they did, they wouldn't have taken Marjorie Taylor Greene down.
Right.
Because they know, just like you said in the early part of the show, they know that that person is representing 75% of the people in the 14th district that voted for her.
That's right.
Correct?
Correct.
And it goes all the way to the top. They could give a damn less about the military. If they gave such a hoot about the military, they wouldn't have relegated to the parking lot. They wouldn't have run them out of the Senate cafeteria.
They're so mentally inbred.
That's right.
I mean, if you go back and look at Europe, I mean, we joke about the families that are all married within each other to the point they had these terrible diseases and they all had the same level of stupidity. But we've got a ruling class in this country now where
Yes.
they're all like,
exactly.
who's the buddy of who and who does a favor for who. We got to get term limits in there. You know, because there are millions of Americans that have great skills and insight that are more than able to come in and do that job.
That's the way it used to be. You know that.
Oh, I get tired of political
The
career.
farmer would go in and
A
he
political
would.
career. I think anybody that looks back and says, I've been doing this for 47 years, well,
That's
get a life.
Well, I don't
Pat
want to.
Leahy would challenge you on that.
I don't want to
48?
I don't want to get stuck on one thing, but I want to be clear. I want to look at the camera. I support the men and women in uniform, but I'm also taking the time to look at who the Biden administration is putting in charge of these agencies. The man that's in charge now of our military is, if you have, I say, like, if you got a good old boy, whether you like the way I said it or not, and he's from Missouri, he's a good guy, and he liked Trump, and he is up there, and he had a Trump bumper sticker on his foot box there at the bottom of his. He's now identified. Whether you believe that or not, if they walked through and he had him a sticker that said Trump, he's checked off. He's identified. Because there's two things here. You could say in the last 4 years of what's going on that we not just figured out, but we have exposed the swamp. Turn that around. Do you realize the Trump administration they have figured out who we are? You follow what I'm saying?
Well, they care about who we are.
They've identified who we are.
They've identified who should be the boss, which is the people.
Correct.
Not the swamp.
Yeah.
So there is, again, looking at it from afar, Obama had everything going for him when he became president in terms of his agenda, the New World Order agenda, the climate change agenda.
Right.
He had the House, he had the Senate, he had the executive branch. What happened? He listened to the Clintons and he got greedy. He had all the players put in place. He listened to the Clintons and he got greedy, and he found that if he sent money out to the Paris Peace Accord or whatever, some of that would come back to him. Iran, yeah.
A lot of
it would come back to him. He got greedy. What happened? Trump came in and beat Hillary. That was supposed to be the next person that was going to be in line to impose what Obama couldn't do because he got greedy. Now they got their boy in place, and you see the same retreads coming in from the Obama administration that were set up to put all that stuff into place when he was president, but he didn't get it done. Now they've got an empty suit there that they can push around and tell him what to do. That's why you see the Valerie Jarrett's in the background. You see the Susan Rice domestic policy. She's never had an ounce of experience in domestic policy. She has constantly been on the international policy, correct? But what happens in that position? She didn't have to go and get confirmed by the Senate. She is the one that's going to be driving traffic, and she's the one that would always take the slings and arrows when someone screwed up.
And she knows the political trap lines. She knows, who's
Exactly.
on first and who's the catcher.
Look, so what do we do about this?
That's the
What do we do? All right, well,
$64 million
let's
question.
put another subject out, because are the American people going to step up? I mean, we always hear, and I said this on my show yesterday, we hear Republicans say, this is the most important election of our lifetime. This is the most important election of our
They
lifetime.
say that every election.
They say that every one.
They do.
But I'm of the opinion, I call it's now or never. It is. I feel 2022, it is now or never, okay? Because this week, help me out here, Rick. Doctor from Connecticut that is now Secretary of Education when they vote him in, Madonna or what is? But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Mayorkas? No.
I think it's Dr.
Mayorkas is the guy's.
But he is
immigration, Homeland Security.
He's Latino, okay. So
that's the guy.
He's from Connecticut, and he is superintendent of schools in Connecticut. All right.
That's right.
Rand Paul. He is now going to be a Secretary of Education. All right. Rand Paul asked him. Now, I'm going to say this, it sounds jokingly, but Rand Paul said, are we in bizarro world? Because as silly as this sounds, a man can go get him a damn sports bra, no joke, and go down to the shoe store and get pink cleats and a pink headband and show up at the track meet this afternoon and say, I'm running in this 100-yard dash against these. I don't care. Isn't that about the craziest? But
Well, it
it's
totally
there.
defeats women's sports. Totally.
Right, but that's what they're
That's
moving
what we've
to.
come to.
Okay? All right, so that's your Secretary of Education. Then your Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services. Now you're a doctor, damn it.
Yeah.
Is a man. Rachel Levine was Richard Levine, married with 2 children.
In Pennsylvania.
She's a damn man, Rachel Levine.
Why do the minorities drive this discussion? How have they come to the
Because
point?
that's the power base. That's the whole separation, victim status of that party. But let's go back to.
I guess
to
my point
fundamentals.
is when you say, all right, my point is, okay, if you start looking at where they're taking us, are the American people going to step up with all these things and say, no?
Yeah, I think the American people have bent over and bent over and bent over, and now they're saying, we're done with this. We're done. And that's where we need to be. We need to hold our ground and say, we're done. This is done. Stupid, get over it. There's no reason in 350 million people why a Bush son should follow a Bush dad in the presidency. Like, we don't have enough people that could be president? Or why a Hillary Clinton wife should be a Bill Clinton's follow-up in the presidency. With 2 families now that we pick our presidents from. Every time we look around, we need to say, you know what, can we get some fresh blood in here? Can we get a different set of eyeballs
But
on
look at the
this?
fresh blood they bring in. John McCain and Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Old school retreads.
Old school retreads that are in. So I don't think it's going to be any good to point around at the swamp and say, well, that alligator and that alligator and this alligator and this snake and that beast over there are bad people. We need to get the damn swamp empty, and we need to get some good people in there. And we, as American people, we need to constantly look around and say, are you fresh? Are you new? Do you have a good set of eyes? What have you done? Instead of, who do you know? And who's patting you on the back?
Yeah, but that's part of the system. Who do you know? And the contributions flow that way. That's to me the
But
big
the solution is from we need
Follow
to
the
shake
money.
off the little hypnotism of saying, well, they know what's what and they know who's who, and therefore they can do a good job. We need to shake that all off and say, no, that's the wrong way to look at things.
Yeah.
Who has a record? Who's been in business?
But I
who's
keep
done
wondering.
something?
I keep wondering when the people are going to are going to step up. I mean, this year alone, in a year, we really found out COVID February 2020. Okay, we're in February 2021. We are just a couple weeks away. They've already had some procedural votes. Okay, so we're not 10 days away from another $1.9 trillion. Okay? When we do that in a window of a year, okay, we're around $5 trillion. Okay? And they bought they bought the American people off for $3,000. They gave you a $1,200 check, a $400 check, and they're going to send you $1,400. So they're saying, we'll give you $3,000
Of your own money.
of your money.
That's right.
We're going to spend $5 trillion in this 1 year window. Now, this is not the budget. This is not the government's operating budget. COVID. When are the American people say, whoa, no more?
This is going to sound.
It's already
This is going to sound like a broken record, but I said last week on the show, and Ray knows what I'm going to talk about, is Maricopa. Maricopa County,
otherwise known as Phoenix,
is otherwise known as Phoenix. That piece that you sent me, that from what's his
Bannon?
name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I did see it.
Who is it?
Yeah. And a
Bannon's
state
show,
representative.
War Room.
Yeah, the War Room.
Ray sent this piece to Bruce and myself, and I think you maybe, I don't know. But anyway, they're not going away. And they made the point, this Fincham is his name?
Fincham, yeah.
Fincham,
The state rep.
the state rep out there. He's the one that's been pushing this whole thing. And he said, if it's so legitimate, why are they backpedaling?
Yeah.
Why are they working so hard? I said last week, watch Maricopa County this week. Well, I'm going to say it again because they're getting ready. They passed a resolution to arrest these people. Correct?
They belong in jail.
They do. Yeah. For not turning over, by law, they're supposed to turn it over to the treasurer.
Right.
That hasn't happened.
Well, you'll see the swamp, as defined by the left, the media, rally to their defense.
Oh, yeah.
You watch. It's going to be very
Of course.
spirited.
And they're going to say, well, they're protecting people's individual privacy, which is horseshit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, let's go. But I want to keep going back just because one of the things I think that's going wrong in our culture where they're winning is they control language and terms and imagery. And I don't know that the conservative or the right side is really adept at that. And I don't know why we're not. But we're constantly being labeled or pictured or
Compartmentalized.
Compartmentalized into places that are just awkward and non-fitting. Like you think of a patriot, and you've got a picture of somebody with a 1776 outfit on and an old gun, and that what they're all about is going to battle and shooting someone. Well, really, what a patriot was about was saying, you know what, England, you're not looking after us. You don't have our interest in mind. We are able to take care of ourselves, and we are going to take care of ourselves. That's what a patriot was. It was a mindset. And that's what I'm trying to talk about here this morning, that the real patriot, the real people that are going to undo all of this is the American people, enough in number that are going to say, you pushed us as far as you're going to push us. We're not going down that path anymore. We don't need anybody riding our back, putting a saddle on us or telling us what to do. That's un-American. We make our own choices in life, and we suffer our own consequences, and we expect to have that level of freedom. And so that's the picture that we need to be painting for each other is, are you emotionally a patriot? Are you willing to take
Do we have enough people to do that?
I think there is, but now that you listen to the media, they'll say, no, those people don't exist. But I see them in my office every day.
Okay, I don't disagree with you, but if you have the state of Georgia says, okay, you can get $350 a week in unemployment, and then we're going to have enhanced unemployment from the federal government, $400. So that's $750. And then you say, well, we can give you you can get a government-funded rent assistant apartment. Okay, that's good. Some housing assistance. Okay, and then you could get food stamps. You can get a couple $100 in food stamps.
Snap.
Okay, and then you could drive through. I love the signs say park, roll your window down, pop your trunk. That's what they say. You could drive through, and they will load groceries. There's no criteria. And I will tell you, you as a doctor could drive through there. They wouldn't come up to your window and say, are you a doctor? They would just say, how are you? What's your name? Can we ask who we're giving? Boom, that's it.
Can we fill your trunk?
And they would put stuff in your trunk, and you would leave with that. There's a lot of Americans that are,
well, it's a real slippery slope. I mean, it's you use the farm analogy. Are you willing to be enslaved in that barn behind those fences, waiting for somebody to bring you food, or do you want to be out the wild horses or the wild boar or whatever they are that are living their own lives and being free. Now we can talk it up and say, well, being in that barnyard with all that mud and slop, that's a nice life because they bring you food every day. Or we can say, you know what, I'd much rather be out there taking my chances.
Animal farm.
So
well, you know, I used to say, Dad, how come there's not an uprising? And how come there's not an uprising, you know, with senior citizens? They've seen, how come there's no uprising? Son, the day they go to the mailbox and they open it up and there's no Social Security check, there'll be an uprising. Until then,
well,
I mean, there are things, you know, until then, all right? You know, we look here in Georgia, just across the street here. I think 8 weeks ago I paid $1.70 for gas. What is it, $2.20 over there today?
$2.25.
$2.25?
Look at all the benchmarks. You can look at all the benchmarks from when Trump was president and
exactly.
see what they are a year later.
I didn't mean to break your heart, though, but Social Security, less than 3% is delivered by mail. It's all auto deposit.
I figured that, okay. We just use the thing until you go to the mailbox, okay?
You're not there yet. So, I mean,
that's
we know
a
these
visual.
things.
That's a visual.
well, I mean, Brian, one of the other things that you're alluding to is that he was saying is that Americans will put up with this till they don't, and I have that spirit about America, but there are plenty of human examples where it didn't happen. You know, the concentration camps in Germany, even when the German guards were running away and they knew the Russians were coming in, the prisoners were so weak and emaciated they couldn't even make it out the fence. Okay? They'd been so destroyed physically and mentally, they couldn't get out. And look at Russia and the gulags and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there are places where this gets so bad that you're in that mud pit starving to death and you can no longer fend for yourself. People who are in charge, they're just as happy as can be because they're in charge and they're living their life and they're making people do what they want them to do.
Yeah, they got a full plate every day.
Yeah.
But it gets back to something.
Oligarchy.
It gets back to something, you know, Rick has talked about for a long time. Self-responsibility and, you know, and education. You know, the people in this country, going back to your example, I mean, used to be responsible for their own lives.
Right.
You know, and, you know, didn't really care for the instruments of government to take care of them. But more and more, I mean, I think you find people that are perfectly willing to let the government come in, intrude on their lives, take away some of their freedoms, and in exchange for a check, in exchange for food stamps, in exchange for, you know, they're perfectly willing to become addicted to that system.
When you say take away some of their freedoms, let me say this, because I have some great nieces and nephews that are being raised in conservative homes. So, but the nieces,
do we.
Right, that's what I was getting ready to say. So you'll know where I'm going with this. But I have some great nieces and nephews raised in conservative homes that are teenagers, okay? But I tell you what, they know the kids we don't know. And if you sit down with them, I sit down with my nephew one time, 17 years old, okay? It's amazing what these kids will tell you is happening that we don't know. I mean, schools are determined, and I forget the proper term, but these kids are going through school now, and there is no gender. There's no gender, okay? That's being eliminated. Whether we know it or not, and we're paying attention to it. I'm old-fashioned because I believe there's a boy and girl, but I'm going to tell you, and we're in North Georgia. Well, I'm old-fashioned. You can laugh if you want.
No,
go sit down.
No,
sit down. 10, 11-year-old kids.
I'm laughing with you, not
but
at
no,
you.
I understand. But 10, 11-year. That's where we're at. 10, 11-year-old kids. There's no gender. Okay. So when you say when they're okay with taking away some of your freedoms, what if? See,
They're
for you
taking
and
away your identity.
No. Well, wait a minute. For you and I, we see it as taking away some of their freedoms. They don't see it as taking anything away because they don't know they don't understand freedom. They're okay. As long as you comply, it's as silly as it sounds, as long as you comply, and you got a house, you got a car, you got some video games, you can get together with your buddy, you could have the freedom to go get a six-pack, and I'm not saying that's what it is, get together with the guys, you know, buy some legal weed, even get some legal crack out in some of the, I'm serious, I mean,
So you're speaking to that they've been so, I don't like the word brainwashed, but they've been so conditioned that
Yes.
they don't even look
Indoctrinated.
for the good.
Yeah, they're not. You know, that's my thought.
As
Now-
you were saying that, I was thinking about what we refer to the Great Generation, which most of us are in contact with a parent or grandparent that was from that. They went and fought for freedom. They looked evil in the eye, and they saw friends and buddies getting killed.
That's exactly right.
And when they came home, they were completely respectful of the value of that freedom. They saw the cost of it.
Right.
And they lived it, and that immediate generation under them absorbed it from them. But we're now several generations away, and we've not had enough people facing that reality, and they certainly are not studying. The schools are not teaching the consequences of letting someone rule you. And so I think they do fall into this sort of like, will somebody take care of me, please?
We have a government manipulation system, the deep state, corporate, corrupt media. Government manipulation system. Now, I do want to give a shout out to young people. They are doing their own research, okay? I don't want to make this all one-sided. Young people are doing their own research. And there is a group of young people that are stepping up and saying, wait a minute, no. Okay, so I don't want to say that all young people in
you're
America.
right. There are.
There's a
if you
good
look
group.
at Jordan Peterson,
Right.
which is a phenomenon from a couple of years ago. I think the reason he struck such a chord with men is because he said, look, your purpose in life is the burden that you carry, is the being a person who picks up the heaviest object that they can bear and moves forward with it. And young men need to have, and older men that say that. Yeah, that's the major purpose of a man in life, is to figure out what your burden is and how much you can bear and move forward.
And I think there's voices out there, Charlie Kirk.
I agree with you. I agree with
but
you.
They get swamped. They get silenced or depressed from
their
the
name calling.
mainstream media, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC. That voice is not heard. I mean, you occasionally see it on Facebook or
They're
Turning Point.
silencing people. I don't have time to go into it. I watched Newsmax with Mike Lindell the other day.
Oh, boy.
All right, Smartmatic here has a $2.7 billion lawsuit against Fox, Giuliani, Marie Bartiromo. I mean, there's Lou Dobbs is on the list that they're suing to silence us. We cannot say election fraud. We cannot say Dominion voting machines.
We can't say Wuhan flu.
We can't say China flu, whatever. But, this morning, the deep state media wants you to believe Joe Biden has a 61% approval rating.
No.
Rubbish.
Well,
Rubbish.
why? I mean, that's what
I
they
saw one the
said.
other day. It was under 50 compared to
No,
Obama.
he's up to 60.
Obama
No, I'm
was at
serious. I'm not
60.
joking. Joe
That must be a mall in
It's a bad
Washington,
poll.
D.C.
You got bad numbers.
Okay. So I have this lovely lady, Tax Tips with Beth Bennett over here waiting. She will be up next, and we are pushing 9:37.
And I got to
wait. No. We get to. You got to have a winner and loser. You're new around here. You can pick a winner and loser.
Wow. Well, you guys go first while I think for a minute.
We'll come this way.
Okay. My loser is she's on the warpath again, Maxine Waters.
Oh, my goodness.
Trump needs to be charged with premeditated murder.
Homicide. Yeah.
Murder, homicide.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we'll see where that goes. I don't think very far. And the winner is Donald John Trump. After 31 years in a great relationship with SAG and AFTRA, he said, "Who cares about you? I'm quitting." Because they were saying his activities leading up to the insurrection were unexcusable and he should be expelled from the Screen Actors Guild.
See ya.
After 31 years, he goes, adios.
My loser of the week is AOC, claiming that she was in a precarious spot and someone was going, "Where is she? Where is she?" It all turned out to be a farce. She's going to be the next one that's going to be up for an Emmy. That was a beautiful piece of acting.
And probably win.
Yeah. My winner of the week is Matt Gaetz out of Florida. That is my guy that I think is a patriot. He is willing to give up his seat as a representative in the House to defend his president, Donald J. Trump, in the impeachment trial. That's my winner of the week.
I agree with that. And you now?
Well, my winner are the Maricopa County people who are
Yes.
damn sure that they're going to get this thing figured out, and I'm hoping
You're going
we
to
got
turn over the evidence,
You're going
baby.
to turn over the evidence, and I'm hoping we get some people in Georgia that tell Fulton County you are going to show us what went on there. Okay, it's got to happen. It's got to happen.
It's got to be a domino.
Yeah. And the loser, I think, is AOC, but maybe she's a winner also because she is the definitive face now of how to be a victim, and then still be it all about me. I'm a victim, and it's all about me.
Yeah, you're right.
Who are you?
Well, I have two winners.
Unusual.
Could have a loser, but I have two winners. And strangely enough, my winner is AOC because I have a lot.
She's getting a limelight.
She's my winner of the week because I'm very busy. I am. I get up 4 a.m. Zip, 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 here, there, everywhere. Right, Emily? We're everywhere. And I need entertainment value. I do. And this googly-eyed girl will get on a camera, and she will go like this, like somebody's looking over her shoulder. I was in the closet, and I heard him say, "Where is she? Where is she?" AOC, please keep making videos. I need entertainment value from time to time. That cracks me up. Where you say that Ted Cruz sent them to kill you. You were in fear in your life. And the one part when you said, AOC, when you said, at this time, I had so many thoughts in my head, knowing that's probably the first time you had so many thoughts at one time in your head.
Be nice now.
It's
Be nice.
hilarious. It's great. You got to go watch. So AOC, thank you. The entertainment value. Oh, besides the fact, the trending hashtag is hashtag Alexandria Ocasio-Smollett because you lied. You weren't in the Capitol at no time were you a threat. So your whole entertainment that I did enjoy, your video, it's just nothing but a lie, okay?
I thought it was
think
occasional cortex.
I think she said it. I think so. And then you, all right? And then my winner is, I often said Donald J. Trump got up every single day. Now, not just his campaign in 2016, every single day as President of the United States, and somebody, if not just one, from daylight to dark, whether it be right there in the Oval Office, somebody in the staff, somebody in the administration, somewhere, put a knife in the guy's back every single day. And there's times where I said, how does he endure this every single day? Attack. Well, the villain now is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you know what? The representative of the 14th District was stripped of her committee assignments yesterday. And if you look at Bush, is that her name out there in St. Louis, a Black Lives Matter organizer, if you look at Representative Bush from Missouri, her involvement in the Ferguson riots, if you go through, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bush, and you go through Omar up there in Minnesota, just one right after another, and some of the things they said. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, just keep going. Don't let them get you down. And the villain of the day. So what happens next week? Very quick. How long does the impeachment trial last? Is it going to be a circus? Is it just going to be what happens next week, Bruce?
One and done. I mean, they're meeting for nothing. It's kabuki. It's a farce. It's stupid.
You?
Non-illegitimate carborundum.
Okay,
Don't let the bastards grind you down.
You send me that in a text. You send me that in a text. I will practice that. Wait for your scoop before you scoop. Liz Cheney. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Looking
good
for
reaction.
You?
No.
Yeah, power prevails. I mean, it's how you look at the swamp.
Power
works.
prevails. Next up, Beth Bennett. Tax Tips with Beth Bennett. This is a great segment. You don't want to miss this. We have your questions and much more. So Tax Tips with Beth Bennett right after this, guys.
Thanks for hanging around.
Thanks for hanging around.
Thanks.
You need to scoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double
And send me that little phrase there. Text that to me. 1, 2, 3, go. Out.
Circa World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
New year, new Chevy. Let's get it done at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the Chevy trucks you want, like $8,000 off new Silverado crew cabs, or save over $7,500 off a new Chevy Equinox. Every Chevy truck and SUV discounted big. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Thank you.
Okay, we're back, and I'm your host, BKP, and it's time for Tax Tips with Beth Bennett from H&R Block. Beth, how are you today?
I'm great, Brian. How are you?
Well, I tell you what, I bet this time of year, we're in February, it's tax season, people that are in business are preparing the W-2s, W-9s, whatever, they're getting them out. So from the business standpoint, you have a lot of your clients that you're helping get their stuff out.
and then bring
on
it back in.
And then the other side, you have the people waiting to do their taxes. So right now, you're bombarded with questions, and it's been an interesting year.
It really has. It's been a very interesting
because you have, and I don't want to take away. I know you have a focus here, but you have people wondering if their unemployment is taxed or is there an exemption? Employers are they being penalized because they had to lay people off? I mean, the world of what is actually out there and what is real and false information. It has to be one of the most interesting years. I don't want to say difficult for you at H&R Block in this business. Am I right?
I think it's difficult and challenging for everyone right now. Everything has changed. There's so many new things that affect your taxes or don't affect it, and people are very unsure. And so that's what I'd kind of like to cover today is, the questions that people are having, unemployment. So it's out there now. When we met 2 weeks ago, unemployment wasn't available. We weren't sure, where am I going to get my information about my federal unemployment, because that was new to everybody. No one had gotten that before. So it is all on one. It is all on your state unemployment statement. The only way to access that is to go to your account, your unemployment account, and pull that. In years past, we could just go to the Georgia Department of Labor website, put in their information, and we could print it. But they now have to log into their account, make sure you have your PIN number. You don't want to file without any income that you had. It will just hold up your refund and delay it versus I'm going to get what I can now and get later. It doesn't really work that way.
So what you're saying is in years past, if for some reason in that year you had to be on any unemployment at any time because that was a state, the state, you, the preparer, could go into the Department of Labor of Georgia, because we're in Georgia, and if you're out there anywhere in the United States, you need to ask these questions because every state is different.
Correct, every state is different.
That we want to be clear, because we have people that view in different states. So every state is handling this different. So in the past in Georgia, you could go to the Department of Labor, pull the information.
Right, we had to have them there and then giving us...
Right, but you could do it.
Right.
But they need to do it now because it has the enhanced federal government added to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that change was because of the federal unemployment or just a change that was coming.
Okay.
And it just happened, in this year. But so to get your unemployment, so to get your unemployment, I think a lot of employers set it up and did it for their employees, so they don't even have that account. So you got to create your account. You have to log into that account with a PIN number that you set, and so it's slowing down the process. So just a heads up, if you drew unemployment throughout the year, go to the website, set up your account, get your access so that you have your unemployment statement. So,
what else do you have on your list today?
The next big question we're really dealing with right now, because you do have to answer the question, did you get the first stimulus last spring, and did you get the stimulus payment that recently occurred? And so a lot of people are talking out in the community, and now we're getting a lot of questions because we are asking that question. It goes on there, and what you're putting it on there for is to reconcile, to make sure you got the right amount. Or if you didn't get it at all, that's how they're going to know now. Oh, Brian should have gotten $600 in the first and he didn't, so we put 0 in that, and then you will get the stimulus included with your refund.
So so you're asking people, okay, on this date, when this one was passed, did you get X? And did you on this date? So on your tax return, those line items are there now.
Yes, but it is not taxable, and that's what everyone is concerned with.
Right.
Well, I'm putting it on my tax return, so that means it's taxed. No, it's just...
You're putting it on there.
It's kind of like the Obamacare.
You're letting them know you got it.
Or didn't get it, so that I can receive it now.
If you put a 0 in there, then it is considered part of your refund that you will get. It'll get added to your refund, right?
Do you need a job? We need tax preparers.
No, I mean,
you're doing pretty good.
I'm just getting it. Just getting it. But what I'm saying is, it's a line item added. The stimulus checks is there. That's a line item added to your tax return. Don't let it confuse you out there.
It's not
don't let
included
it concern
in your income.
you. So don't say, "Oh my God, if I put $1,200 in there, it's non-tax." It's just letting them know you got your check or didn't.
Absolutely, that is correct. We're just letting them know to make sure you got the correct amount if you didn't get any, to try to get you your stimulus. That's what it's there for. It's not taxable income. And that's been a lot of questions for people that haven't been in yet, because they've heard, oh, well, I had to tell them how much my stimulus was. So we just wanted to clarify. Your stimulus was not taxable. It does go on your return, but it's only for reconciliation.
Okay, what else we have on our list today?
So we talked about unemployment, we talked about the stimulus. The IRS goes live next Friday. That's 3 weeks later than any other year. So it's going to be a little crazy.
What's the IRS goes live mean?
That means, so we've been preparing returns.
Because some of us out there don't want to hear the IRS ever went live, but I don't know.
We
how
did.
put
If you
that.
had questions and problems for months, they were closed. So
No, but
That's a good thing.
the IRS goes live.
So that means that they open their doors and start accepting tax returns. So we've been filing since the beginning of January, right? And so those returns are just sitting there. They'll be the first through the gate, get processed. So they're not processing refunds. For certain credits, refunds don't start getting processed until the 15th, and that's an every year thing. That was the PATH Act that was passed several years ago to try to cut down on fraud. So some people's won't start getting processed till the 15th. Expect your refunds in about 2 to 3 weeks. It's normally 10 to 14 days, but the IRS isn't running on full speed. A lot of people are working from home, so I would assume, and you know what they say about assumptions, but I would prepare not to get my refund in the normal 10 to 14 days. I would allow a little
10
extra
to 14,
time.
that was a question I had, because 2020, that's the year you're filing.
Correct.
Your filing is your 2020 return. We know what 2020 was all about. So many changes in so many Americans' lives in that year. So I guess that is also a big question. All right, the IRS is going to go live 3 weeks later than normal. I've done my return. I went in. Is there going to be any changes in instant refunds? Some of the programs out there offered. Do you feel there's going to be delays that where people normally, are sitting there? I know what you just said, but I want to put all that together. Do you anticipate delays this year, like not like in the past?
Well, there's never been instant refunds.
Okay.
Because you don't get your refund instantly. You can take a loan. Lots of us offer, and we offer a loan with 0% interest and no fees. It's a loan against your refund. And you got to qualify. The standards are not like, going to buy a car. Basically for us, and I could get in trouble for saying this, I think a lot of that weighs heavy on your credit check in our offices is more like, I've been coming here for so many years and every year I get my refund. So it's not about if I have a 700 credit score. You could have a 400 and still get our loan. It's more about, do you make enough money to pay it back if you didn't get your refund? Did you get your refund every year without any problems? There's no changes on your returns. Those things, I think, but they won't give us the underwriting, so we can't judge people and say, oh, you're not going to qualify, but just what we see, I think that's what happens with ours. But yeah, I would expect that refunds will be late. Again, everyone, I don't know of any business, any industry that's overstaffed, that has enough people or too many people. And, the IRS is not at full capacity with employees either.
Are all of now on the business side, are all of the compliance dates still the same as far as when you have to have
Yes.
W-2s out to your employees, when you have to have that tax information out?
Yep.
All the compliance dates are the same. Nothing's been extended.
None of that has changed for us, so everything remains the same there. Your W-2s were due
Because
out.
you do business tax, corporate tax. You don't just, I want to make sure it's very clear out there. Your office doesn't just do tax returns. That's
No.
it. You do business and corporate taxes, and you consult business clients in their taxes.
Absolutely.
So if you're out there and you're a business and you're wondering, hey, has there been any change in dates, reporting dates, anything like that, you would know that and you could help them with that.
We'd be happy to help them with that.
So because now sometimes people think tax, February, March, boom, it's over. But you're open year-round, and you do business and corporate taxes. You do things year-round for your customers.
Yes, we help clients with letters, audits, bookkeeping, payroll.
There's one thing, we've been doing this for years, and I know we got to close the segment up, but, you know, one of the biggest reasons I recommend you sit down with Beth and her qualified staff is you guys take someone's taxes and you also say, okay, when you walk out of here next year, you analyze what they're doing and say, you know what, next year you need to do this, you need to do that. So you also give your customers not just a tax return, you analyze their taxes to help them maximize and get the most out of their refund or pay legally as little as they have to throughout the year, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, great commercial. But yes, we do. We take care of you, and we try to prepare for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year,
Right.
5 year. You know, if we see something, we try to help. Nobody wants to pay too much in taxes, and so we do everything we can to keep everyone honest and within, you know, the boundaries, but to keep, you know, that refund as high as possible or the tax liability as low as possible.
There's some confusing things like child tax credits, and then now
Additional.
there's hiring credits. There's so many different things out there that somebody needs. You may need to ask
And
those
sadly, each one of these stimulus packages have changed. What is now
Right.
different. So it's really, we spend a lot of time trying to keep current and to be able to help the people. When I left the office, we had someone sitting in there working on the next PPP because we helped them prepare for that. There's a lot of reporting that goes into that. They require a lot of paperwork. And so we help them do that, you know, apply for the PPPs, help them get those forgiven. So it's really, and I'm thankful for them. I'm very happy that, you know, we got that to help those businesses. This new one, you have to show that you had a 25% or more loss of revenue in a quarter in order to get this stimulus. And I think that's a great thing. You know, there was a lot of, it wasn't fraud. People just took advantage of what they put out there. The government put out free money with no guidelines on that first one. So lots of people who didn't have any reduction in income or loss of employees because of that, you know, they got the PPP loan. And then it was forgiven. And this one here, it's really drilled to, hey, you have to show me that you had a loss in order to get this new loan. And I think that's a great stipulation.
Well, I want to ask you one more question. It's unprepared, sir. Are you ready? You
I'll
didn't
try.
prepare for this.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, what I was just thinking as we were talking, because, you know, with unemployment and people living in some areas that maybe they went to another state to try to find a job for 6 months to try to get through or whatever, there's differences when you live somewhere and you went and worked in a couple different states. Am I correct?
Yes, so my husband's a lineman, so he does the storm work, hurricanes, snowstorms. So
All right, I have
there's
to
like
I have to
seven
come clean. I knew I knew she would know
seven
the
states
answer.
on our W-2
I
this
knew-
year.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
I knew that.
Yeah.
You know I know that.
So yes, there are different tax laws and different credits for working in all those different states. You put it all together, and we try to you know minimize that. So yeah, we even have to stay current on all 50 states
So even in your family, you have to deal with 7 different.
this year.
Right, this year, right? Yes. So what I'm saying out there is, if you had to, for you know any reason whatsoever, because of the difficult year in 2020, if you went to another state to work for 90 days and you're wondering, how do I file my taxes this year? Beth Bennett at H&R Block will be able to help you. You have experience with that.
We definitely have experience in that.
Anything else?
I think we covered a lot today.
Yeah, you got to get back to work.
I know, right?
How do people find you if they're looking for you and they want to know, how can I get in touch with you to do my taxes?
HRBlock.com and put in our zip code. We're in Ellijay, Chatsworth, Calhoun, Hartwell, Cleveland, Cornelia, Commerce, Jefferson. How about
Okay.
that?
And
Little bit everywhere.
although you have hours of operation during these times when, you know, you got to file taxes, if you're out there and you have a hectic schedule and you can't make it in, if you will call, you'll make an appointment with them, right?
Absolutely. Just call us. We'll do whatever we can to accommodate you.
Beth Bennett, Tax Tips with Beth Bennett, thank you very much. You can find this segment on fyntv.com. It says Tax Tips with Beth Bennett right on there, and you can also send us questions if you would like for us to get them directly to Beth, or if you're looking for one of their locations, get with us and we'll help you find their location. Thank you very much. Beautiful. The sun's coming out. A little bit of every.
I said this morning, it's like the rain just washed away all the bad. Everything's clean and shiny today.
Sun's coming out. It's February. When you know what happens, then you have March. So we're right around the corner. So for all of our friends out there this week, we will be back Monday morning at 8 a.m. We're going to go now. We're going to go enjoy the weekend. You ready?
Yes.
Let's go, Emily.